In this tutorial, we're going to talk about what is input and output to the Raspberry Pi. In particular, what is input and output, general purpose I/O pins versus the Grove Pi, and how to create a light dimmer.
What's the difference between input and output? Well, an input device sends information to be processed, whereas an output device reproduces or displays the results of this processing. So, an input device, a button, you press it and a light turns on, and that's the output device. Now, these signals can be of two different types. They can either be analog, a signal that constantly fluctuates, or digital, which is either low, 0, or high, 1.
So what is input and output on the Raspberry Pi? Well, simply it's the GPIO unit on the right hand side, or the general purpose input-output. These pins are a physical interface between the Pi and the outside world. At the simplest level, you can think of them as switches that you can turn on or off, input, or that the Pi can turn on or off, output. 17 of the 26 pins are GPIO pins, the others are power or ground pins. So the Raspberry Pi will take a digital input and output a digital output. This is because of the way the GPIO pins work. But what about analog? This is where the Grove Pi comes in. The Grove Pi is a Raspberry Pi add-on that makes it easy to prototype systems. It provides analog ports to input and output an analog signal, and it also provides digital ports to input and output a digital signal. To install your Grove Pi, simply slide it in place over the top of the Raspberry Pi GPIO pins. Now we're going to talk through the light dimmer program.
Before we start writing code, we have to set up the Raspberry Pi. So first we're going to plug the LED into digital pin 3 for the output, and the dial into analog pin 1 for the input. So now we're going to look at the code element of the program. First of all, we want to import all the relevant libraries to the program. Next, we need to create a class, and inside that class we want to create an instance of the Grove Pi. Inside the main method, we want to set digital pin 3 to the output, that's the LED. Next, we want to constantly get the value of the input, that's the dial, from analog pin 1, and write it to the digital pin 3, which is the LED.
Now when you turn the dial, the analog input, you can see the LED fades in and out, an analog output. In this tutorial, we have covered what is input and output on the Raspberry Pi, its limitations, and how the Grove Pi helps resolve these limitations. Hopefully you found this informative. Thanks for watching.